Well, we are live. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, Troy Warren, Christina Ortiz, our new co-host to the program. We have some estrogen now.
Yeah.
I was getting tired of all these sword stuff we were doing.
Well, yeah.
Between me, you, and Troy. Troy?
Yeah.
Isn't it good to have a little bit of estrogen?
Absolutely it is. And I think you found somebody good too.
Yeah.
I like Christine.
Yeah.
Guys, I like
Plus, I know you like the Irish, so I had to find the Irish. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ginger and whiskey. Let's go.
Yeah. And Jim likes young, so I had to find somebody Irish and young.
Wow. Okay.
Me, I like smart.
Well, yeah.
We really don't want to go down that road.
Well, no, he does. He was Heidi's smart.
I like smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
No, I'm not saying.
No, sometimes I question how smart she is, though, because I've known Steve for so long. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Christina, welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Tell us about yourself.
So I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. I started politics, town hall meetings and all when I was 13 years old. I went to UNLV.
What are you now, 18?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what we're going to tell people.
All right. Go ahead.
And I was active duty Army before I came back to Vegas to be the financial chair for the De Silva campaign.
See, she's even a veteran.
Yep. A veteran, and you're a native Las Vegan. Those are hard to find.
Yeah.
Born and raised. I was born at UMC, graduated from Bonanza, went to UNLV.
Oh, so she went.
Oh,
You're
man.
a Bengal, really?
I'm a Charger.
I'm a Sun Devil.
See,
Wow, those are really bad schools.
see, all three of you are Nevadans, right? I'm
I'm native.
Went through the public school system.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm the only one that didn't do that.
I moved here when
I'm the smart one.
I started school here when I was in 4th grade.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people tell me I'm pretty much a native too by now.
Pretty
so,
close.
Yeah.
So both of you, Troy and Christina, you went through the kindergarten all the way up?
Yep.
No, I was in private school till I got to Bonanza. So,
Oh, excuse us.
so I actually didn't know.
So Mountain View, Del H. Robeson, El Dorado High School.
She was in private school.
I went to St. Christopher, and then I went right to Bonanza.
Sorry about that.
Well, she's Irish, so I was always assuming she's Catholic.
Right?
Did you get that knuckle cracking stuff?
My mom was the principal, so, I mean, really, how much more?
Your mom was the principal.
My mom was the
Yeah,
principal.
remember we went through this last time?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom was a principal. That's why Ruben didn't ask her out.
That's right.
Right.
Ruined my
Well,
dating
Ruben's
life.
just scared.
Well, we have two guests today. We're going to have Jiah R. Roselli, Italian, sounds like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Jiah
But that
is-
explains a lot what happened out in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jiah is going to discuss mortgage loans. So,
Okay.
well, we had one last week.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have Larissa, I'm going to kill her name, Drohobyczer? I don't know. But we'll have her.
Probably
have her
a good
say.
thing to ask your
Yeah,
guests
well,
their name before
yeah.
they come on.
You know, that see? Smart. You see? We've been having this for 11 years. I don't ask nobody their name. I make it up as I go along. And
You like making stuff up.
she's a Nevada attorney specialized in family, estate planning, and probate. So that's good.
Well, it's funny. You sent out a text, make sure we wear our shirts and stuff today so we get the photograph and stuff.
Yeah.
It was interesting that you chimed in about my cousin and what he's done. Did you read that article where
No.
Derek Armstrong was funneling money to John Ralston?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that illegal?
Yeah.
So my cousin could go to jail.
Yeah.
You know what? Karma's a bitch, ain't it?
And I thought he was supposed to be a conservative. And Ralston, we all know he's flaming liberal.
Oh. I don't really understand what transpired with my cousin and what turned him to do what he did, or if that was his plan all along. Because I didn't get it. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
And if these allegations are true, because let me tell you something.
You could file a complaint being a citizen.
Yeah, well, I just might, because here's what's true. I'm catching a lot of heat from my family for the crap that I give him, and if you got to do what you say you're going to do. It's called integrity.
Right, right.
And the way he flopped on that, dude, and knowing that I'm related to him, sometimes it hurts. It's kind of like, ugh.
See, that's why I'm glad that my cousins are far away.
I was going to say the same thing. My cousins live in Wisconsin, so what they do, I don't want to know about.
Yeah. Mine are not around either. Thank God.
Yeah,
they're worse than me, and you think I'm bad.
Yeah, I'm just really beside myself on this whole thing. Because I've been doing some research and stuff and finding out if it is actually true. Because if it is, I think they need to hang him out to dry.
Yeah. And I'm switching gears a little bit. The only candidate I saw at that Henderson City Council for speaking on behalf of Veterans Court was Ruben Da Silva.
So that was such an honor, and we really it was such a thing that was so passionate to us. And I had written the letter that we read out loud to the DA. And
so you wrote it.
We just tell people that we tell people Ruben wrote it, but he signed it.
Well, that bus just backed up.
He signed it. So, but no, we wrote a letter to the DA and sent it in, and then read that letter out loud. And the overwhelming positive reviews he got really touched his heart and touched our hearts. So, we keep an eye on the Veterans Treatment Court, and we hope and praise that it continues to do the work that it does.
Right. You have anything there, Jim? Jones?
So I was going to ask you, have you talked to one, and I'm sure you have you talked to Steve about this?
Yeah.
Wolfson?
Yeah.
So what he keeps saying in the media is that he just wants the law clarified.
Yeah, while
it's too vague.
While he kills the court to do it.
Yeah, so I was just wondering.
I mean, it's been going on for 5 years, so
Right.
why not let it keep going and then clarify in the next session?
You know what's funny about Wolfson? Wasn't it Wolfson for the defense? Yeah, I mean,
at
I
one
always,
time.
I always see prosecutors going over to the, going to
Well,
the other direction.
actually-
but very seldom have I ever seen somebody from the
Actually,
defensive attorney go to that side.
he came out of the prosecutor's office.
Yeah.
That's where he actually started. And then
I did not know that.
Then he had his own law firm, Jackie and Glass.
Right, I remember that.
As a defense counsel, and Glass his wife became district court judge and celebrity, and he went city council and DA. But Steve Wolfson he really wants to be the governor of the state. So.
Well, I don't propose that you
No.
become governor of the state if you can't take care of your veterans.
Yeah.
I somehow
Agreed.
Yeah. Totally agreed.
Totally agree on that one.
You know what? Have you asked him my question that I ask and candidates hate when I ask it?
What's that?
If he knows how many veterans there are in the state of Nevada?
No, I've never asked him that question. I should.
Yeah, you should ask
You,
him
you,
that.
you know what I also like to do? I also like to put a BDR in to change the law to make city attorneys elected instead of appointed. That would probably get rid of Sandra Morgan in North Las Vegas, Josh Reed in Henderson, and I think Brad Jervik still has a shot at it in Las Vegas. But I think these appointments to city attorneys are ridiculous, because you know how Josh Reed got his job, right? Harry, his daddy, called up the mayor to lower the standards so he could get it. So,
Yeah.
Well, my lower standards. That's putting it mildly. If you're gonna do anything on the taxpayer's dime, you need to be elected.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I agree.
If you've got that kind of power,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be elected.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But-
you need to be able to be held accountable.
But let's take a commercial break. And Jim, who you want?
Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to you.
Oh, who was the first one that came in? I forget.
Jiah.
her name.
Gia.
Yeah, let's have Jiah. She was. The
Well, let's
first
have Jiah Roselli, the name I could pronounce. And she's going to talk about mortgage loans. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz. Troy Warren will be back next week, and we'll see you soon. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
is Heidi Hanus, and I'm a marriage and family therapist. I recently opened my own practice under the name of Faith Individual and Family Counseling in the area of Summerlin. I have been practicing family therapy for 14 years, and I work well with individuals, children, teens, couples, and most of all, families. I have experience in a variety of areas, which include family conflict, communication issues, grief, anxiety, depression, anger issues, addiction, adjustment to life changes, trauma, and most forms of mood disorder. The agency work I have done has given me the experience to work with all levels of issues from severe to mild. I believe in change and positive outcome. If you are interested to begin change, you can reach me at 702-370-4244 or hanusa@cs.com. Thank you.
Nevada Legal Firms and Tax Services have been serving Nevada. Nevada Legal Firms and Tax Services, the reliable option for your legal and tax matters. The original do-it-yourself legal source store with paralegals, registered document preparers, and enrolled agents to assist you when you need it. Need help getting divorced, starting your business, or just filing your taxes? Nevada Legal Firms is there for you. Nevada Legal Firms has over 1,000 legal firms and do-yourself kits for all your everyday matters. Nevada Legal Firms, the best place to start. Nevada Legal Firms and Tax Services is not a law office or have attorneys on staff and cannot give legal advice.
Nevada Legal Firms, Charleston and Valley View. Call 702-870-0977 or online at nevadalegalforms.com.
Hi, my name's Annette Levy. Did you know that we usually elect judges based solely on name recognition? So here goes. My name's Annette Levy. My name's Annette Levy. My name's Annette Levy. Now, for those of you who might want to know a little more, I have 29 years legal experience, 15 years arbitrator, 11 years judge pro tem. I'm ethical. I'm experienced. I want to be your district court judge in Department 20. And by the way, my name's Annette Levy.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Annette Levy. If you'd like to know more, visit her website at electannette.com.
Well, folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz with Veterans in Politics. We're here live with Jiah Roselli to talk about mortgage loans.
And I will be doing a service announcement because my license is in transfer right now. So since my license is being transferred, I am no longer able to speak about mortgages directly or points or origination, so I'll have to defer that to my awesome...
Do you need a lawyer?
Aren't we having one in the radio show today who actually specializes in real estate?
She's actually outside. You
I'm
might
really
want to have her
excited.
represent you then.
Yeah. No, I just had to make a service announcement that I can't disclose or pretend to act like an originator because my license is currently being transferred right now to a wonderful company named Guild Mortgage. And in the interim, I would like everything to go under my new teammate, Jeremy Doherty, NMLS license number 353495. The telephone number, if you have any loans or would like to transfer loans or any questions, 702-580-9000. Again, that number 702-580-9000. Jeremy Doherty with Guild Mortgage.
Well, tell us about yourself. You're cracking me up over here.
I've been preparing. So yes, I'm excited. Go ahead.
Tell us about you. Since now we have the lawyer in the room, since you have that disclaimer.
yeah, which is perfect. Basically, I have been out. So let's go back to the beginning of the story. A little bit about me. My name is Jiah. Used to be Trish. I legally changed my name in 2000.
Was that like your stage name, or are you running from the law?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
But no, I was adopted. I'm originally a Cali girl, and my dad was LAPD.
Oh,
so
wow.
yes,
that explains a lot.
I was born October 4th, 1978.
Wow.
Newport Beach, California.
Got a bottle of wine that old.
And grew up in the Valley. San Fernando Valley is where
you
my
look like a
stomping
Valley
grounds
girl.
were. Exactly. So I always say I'm a Valley girl living in Vegas. And basically, he retired to a little town in Idaho called Coeur d'Alene. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. COEUR space D with an apostrophe.
Isn't that where that beautiful lake is?
Yep, ALENE, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
You familiar with what she's talking about?
I am. My sister's best friend went to the University of Idaho. We right on Coeur d'Alene, so
And then I ended up living in another lake town next to Coeur d'Alene called Hayden Lake, population 398.
Wow, I'll know everybody in a day or so.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm not staying here. They're like, yeah. So that's what inspired me to come back to Vegas. I was like, well, how am I going to go from Idaho back to California? Because I was raised as a Catholic girl where, go to high school, go to college.
So you're a true Catholic girl, really?
Mm-hmm. I get on my knees every night.
I didn't know that was part of our religion now.
All right. You got your attorney on retainer over there? Go ahead.
And so anyways, I was like, there's no way I'm staying in Idaho. I graduated high school at 17, and with all my ambition and trying to get back to California, UNLV had a great program called Western Undergraduate Exchange. It was $90 a credit because Idaho touched Nevada.
Right.
My intention was to come here for 2 years, transfer back to California. Never happened. This August, I'll be 21 years in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you came here in 95 then?
96. 1996.
Well, that'll be 20 years. This is 16.
I can't do math. But I'm in mortgage. I round up.
Okay, go ahead.
I round up. So, yeah, I came out here for communications of all things. And it was about...
George, don't tell me you know her. Oh, hell no.
It's a small town. It's a small town. So, yeah, it was 1996. I would go back up to Idaho on breaks for college, and my dad started doing lending because he was bored being retired LAPD cop. And I said, whoa, this is interesting.
Could imagine. Pistol whipping people all those years, and all of a sudden you stop.
Yeah. And I wanted to be a lawyer, in fact, but, real estate was so similar to it, and I saw you could make great money. And that's why I said, I think I want to do that when I grow up.
Right.
You get to provide money to people, and you get to see their credit and what they do for work. I love it. Sign me up right away. So any chance I could, I invested my time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It sounds kind of like some spy work going on.
Don't ask her out, Jim. Stalker.
The thing is, there is some hindsight to that because my godfather was the head of homicide, so he was a detective.
You have a godfather. Oh, she is Italian.
So I think there's that part of me too that's got that investigative ethic. Want to make sure all the.
Jiah, you're Italian, right?
I have no idea. I'm adopted.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
Because
town
the
puppy.
Roselli threw me off. So.
Yeah. Some guy that married me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were married to an Italian? Ah, I didn't even know that about you.
I know. People don't know anything about me. That's why I was excited to get on the radio today. My little notes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then, let's see, 96 to 2007? Hardcore working in the lending industry. All the ups, all the downs, everything in between. Owning homes, training people. And then I got out of the industry. And was out of the industry till about 2015. And now I've been back trying to find the right company. And it's really hard when you know everybody in this town.
So explain to the listeners what somebody has to do to...
Especially our veterans listeners who might be driving their first home. They're just getting done with active duty and, they're ready to settle down and have a family.
Right. So we were talking in the lobby about this because right now because my license is in being transferred, I can't talk too much about the programs, but I can't wait to come back on the radio show and talk about them.
You could talk about, you went to school for it, right?
Well, you basically...
You could talk about it as somebody that went through the system.
And what I liked about it, too, is I got online today. As a consumer, you can get online and know right away. But basically, as a veteran, you just have to make sure that you have I believe it's a 2214.
DD-214?
DD-214, yeah.
It's a document saying that you're eligible. It's a certificate of eligibility.
What website is it online that they can go to find out? Because,
I would honestly Google VA, HUD, or like what I wrote down today, too, because I really, the Nevada Housing Division. Basically, the Nevada Housing Division has a Home is Possible program and the Hero to Home, which is directly for the VA. And what I like about it also is that it's for veterans, National Guard, first-time home buyers, and surviving spouses of a veteran. And they can get 100% financing. So that is called the Hero to Home. And any of our listeners or anyone can just Google Nevada Housing Division and pull up the information right away. And that's a great program. And the other great program, if you just went VA, which is 100% financing, no mortgage insurance. There's no mortgage insurance. You can get a loan amount up to $400,000.
You're talking about PMI, right?
Yeah. So veterans don't have PMI.
Right.
That loan never will have mortgage insurance.
Explain the purpose of PMI.
So PMI is private mortgage insurance, and then there's mortgage insurance, and then there's lender mortgage insurance, and basically it's protecting the bank. So they only have a couple programs. It's VA, FHA, and conventional now. FHA is not my favorite, even though it's a government program, because no matter what the loan to value is.
What does FHA stand for?
Federal Housing Authority. No matter what that loan to value is, whether it was 80% or 50%, they always put mortgage insurance on there. And that mortgage insurance insures that company, the government, that even if you default, they'll be paid. So all that time you're paying mortgage insurance and you can't get it off, it's going towards their piggy account, if you will. So if you ever foreclose or default, that still have retainment fees.
Right.
It doesn't protect the customer, in my opinion. And that's why I do like the VA when you can use it, because you can go up to 100%, $400,000 the first time. The second time, you there's no cap. So there is actually, in California, I believe there's $1 million property that someone bought for 100% financing.
What's important for veterans to know about this program, and how would they get involved, especially for veterans who are maybe new to Nevada and are just moving into Nevada?
Oh, I would say talk to a lender like me. For sure. You know, we want
Sure, one just like you.
Yeah, someone with experience. Someone with experience that actually cares about veterans. I actually do care about veterans. I've done stuff with U.S. vets and the USO, so I'm always trying to stay active within that. My dad was ex-Marine, and before that, my ex-in-law.
There is no such
ex-Air
thing
Force.
as an ex-Marine. Just
Right.
to put
Isn't
it
it
out
right?
there.
The rule, once a Marine, always a
Yeah.
Marine?
Totally.
Yeah.
So, you know, to me, there's.
So he was Marine in LAPD?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Dangerous, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jiah, one thing that I wanted to ask you is the credit score keeps coming up 640.
Right.
And Louis had talked about this last week too.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of veterans find themselves in credit trouble, and I know one in particular. He went and talked to Louis, and he has like a 511 credit score. So what would you do? I mean,
511's difficult, but honestly, at some companies, because they have a little bit more, I don't know, leeway, credence, if you will, there are programs that you can get away at 580, 600 FICO.
Yeah. Well, one of the things
go
is
to a
I
higher
know
loan to value.
I know people. I usually get the same answer, but is there any way that, like, are there people that would say come to you in the future, would come to you with a credit score like that, and you could turn them on to somebody that could help them fix their credit?
Yes, I have a couple companies I work with,
Yeah.
and I like Mr. Was it Cordone?
Yeah.
What's his name? Yeah, I like that he said the power of three, which I like a great deal.
So did you listen to Louis?
I did, of
wow.
course. That's why I really can't wait to meet him, and I wouldn't be surprised if I was a wholesale rep for him back in the day. But the funny thing is, I use Sean Nealon with a credit repair company, and he's excellent. And when I look for a credit repair company that I can refer someone to, I like someone that's going to be honest with my client, honest with me. It's not, a bunch of money. His program, in fact, it's like $60 to sign up, and then it's month to month, so there's no pressure. And everyone
What does
gets
that mean,
notified.
month to month?
Basically, some companies you can sign up for credit repair, and they might make you sign on for 12 months. And if you're already having credit issues and you can't afford your Capital One payment of $15, why would I want to throw you into something that might be $30 or $60 a month?
Right.
For 12 months.
Okay.
That's not gonna be advantage to my customer. I want something that's either going to be fixed or not, and then we can move on to the loan.
So let's go through the process real quick. Like, let's say we have someone who does have a 580 or a 511 credit score. What's the process between fixing their credit and becoming a first-time homeowner?
And then again, we're in that gray area where I can't quite talk about that. And I always say
But
this.
you got a lawyer right behind you.
Everything's case by case. Everything's case by case. And unfortunately, we do need credit these days to qualify for loans. And that's where I would look at it and say, this is a little bit too tricky for me. You might want to go to credit repair where they're going to work on it for you. And if they can afford it, especially. That's what I like about this company, too. If he looks at it and sees that they're still going through their medical issues or whatever else, they won't take them on as a client. We're not going to have clients that we're not going to help.
I thought creditors really don't look at the medical issues on credit reports.
It depends. I mean, a judgment's a judgment, a collection's a collection. And there are programs that don't, make you pay it. But if it's at 511 and I can't get you into that loan, then something has to happen.
So if a veteran has some type of federal tax lien or state
tax liens have to be paid anyways.
They automatically not qualified at all.
Well, you can make a pay. You have to just pay it off. The reason why they won't qualify for a house is because why would I give someone a loan to buy a house but they already have a lien that can be slapped on right away?
Right.
Well, one of the things, Jiah, that a lot of people ran into trouble with, before the bubble burst was, they had so many programs out there where pretty much anybody could figure out how to get somebody in a home.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was another thing I was going to touch on. I really wanted to tell people, how many trends I'd been through. And so, I came in the industry in 1996. We literally had a third loan with 125% loan to value.
So you came.
That was the loan programs we had back then.
Jiah, you came in the industry as soon as you moved here?
I was doing it before I moved to Vegas. It was I was 16. I was a junior in high school. I started doing reception and processing whenever I could for my dad. The minute I got out of high school, or during breaks, any little bit.
Were you 16 in 96?
It was, yeah.
So you were doing loans at 16 years old?
Reception work, processing. Like I said, anything that I could. Anytime there was time off during Christmas or summer, I was there at the office learning everything I possibly could.
You just gave your age, right?
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't mind. I literally did loans on typewriters.
I saw George over there. He was like,
when we pulled credit, it was thermal. It was a thermal fax. My printer had the little grommets on it that you had to line up right away. Yeah, that's what I was brought up on.
Gotcha.
So that's why I don't mind having a pen and paper and really doing the math. I know everything's computer based, but if I can just get on here and do it, then I know if I don't.
So what do you suggest?
But before we rally back to that, let's go back to this. So 96, I come in.
Right.
Third loan amount. So you can have a first, a second, and a third loan for 125% loan to value of your home. That was created for people to do home improvements.
Right.
So then, if the appraisal was, let's say the house was worth $100,000, and then we give you a loan for up to 115% on the back of that. Then that cash was supposed to be used towards the home, so then it would increase in value and be at 100% again.
Okay, yeah.
People did not do that. That's why it does not exist.
Yeah.
So then we come into, let's say, 2000. So 98 to 2000, I was doing retail. This was right at the peak of refi booms here, when they had big newspaper ads at 7%, just call in right away. So I was all part of that. Super easy. Everything was very vanilla. Then we graduate from 98 to about 2000. All these other companies are coming in now to play. Hey, why don't you do a stated loan? Right. Hey, why don't we take them to 100% loan to value? Which was still like, what? Right. Okay. But if there's a need for it, let's do it. So from 2000 to about 2003, then we have what I call super stated. And these were loans I really did not feel comfortable selling on the market at all. Right. You would have stated income, stated asset programs. Right. People are like, we had no document programs. The no documents were only maybe like 70% loan to value, but we're talking no credit was pulled. It was just, a person like Bob Smith and a house, and that was it. That was a loan.
So what would you tell folks to get prepared to buy a house? What do they need to do in their financial life?
Definitely, I think the most important thing is know that you have to have 2 years of employment.
Any employment?
Not really. Not anymore. It's going back to the way it used to be, which is common, makes sense things.
You got to be in the same field?
Yeah, and even that's not a guarantee.
Okay.
So again, I like people to know, no, you can't have like a year and a half or 18 months out of college. Go for a solid 2 years to 2.5 because we want to know that you're stable. We want to know that what you're doing is stable. If it is in the same...
Is that mentally or financially?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Also, in the same field, it has to be a really, really strong case. They better have, golden credit and a lot of reserves because it's not as easy as it used to be anymore.
We're talking about the regular Joe. We're not talking about veterans at this point.
Okay, but either way, a lot of people...
I'm asking you. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. Either way. If I had a veteran person and he was working in the commissary and now he's doing, fuel refills, on the tarmac.
Right.
That's not the same. Yeah, the same industry, but not the same caliber.
But as long as he's in the Air Force or Army or whatever for 2 years, then he qualifies.
And that's what I'm saying. That's where we come into the tricky part. It has
really?
to really...
So if his MOS is different in the military, it might disqualify him.
What if he's making $15 in the commissary and now he's making $28 an hour? How do I know he's not going to get shifted again and make $6 an hour?
You're talking about just a civilian vet. You're not talking about a military veteran.
Well, I understand where you're coming from, but do you understand what I'm saying too? You have people that don't have all those different.
Gotcha.
And then we come back to the loan. Okay, sell me on how this person's really going to stay credible. Now I need to see reserves. I want to see that this house is the best looking house in the neighborhood. Right. I need to see a lot of different factors to make me want to give you the money for this. Right. That's the way I look at it. Like I'm giving away money.
Right.
Make me believe that, there is no way you're going to default on me and that you absolutely deserve this money.
Right. Well, do you have any?
So back to, if I was a first-time home buyer, what would I do? I'll definitely talk to my lender first. Definitely talk to my lender first to know that I can go look at homes.
Right.
Nothing worse than going to look at homes and say, oh, can I qualify? No, that's disheartening. 2 years, job. I am sorry. I like to say 3 to 6 months reserves. 3 to 6 months of your mortgage payment should be saved up with taxes and insurance. Why? Well, there's life events that happen all the time. If someone gets sick, someone loses a job,
Right.
I need to know that you guys have cushion.
Right.
The other thing that I've always seen with first-time home buyers, they get in right away and then they're buying the washer, the dryer, and everything else, and no savings.
Right.
And that's not going to win for anybody. And I don't want to see anyone under distress or have a bad feeling about their first-time home. I want it to be all good and, have the cushion and the right fiscal responsibility.
Gotcha. Well, Jiah, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on the program and explaining all that to us.
Yeah.
Do you have a point of contact?
Oh, so basically I'm going to be going to Guild starting Monday.
Uh-huh.
And I will be working with Jeremy Doherty and his team. And again, his number, and 702-580-9000, NMLS 353495. My cell phone number is 702-203-6400.
Oh wow, you really put your cell number on the. It's gonna blow up now.
Good. That's how I make money.
There you go.
And you can find me on Facebook or social media. I've been pushing social media pretty hard because we do have the millennials.
Right.
And it's another good way to add credibility to what you do. But I've really enjoyed my time on the radio.
Well, Jiah Roselli, thank you so much for coming
You're
on the program.
welcome. Thank you so much.
That's Jiah Roselli was discussing mortgage loans. This is Steve Sanderson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz. Don't go away. We're going to have Larissa.
I had it like
Johansenberg.
Christina.
Heisendogger, right? Heisendogger.
Drohobyczer.
Drohobyczer. We got to find out what country that's from.
We will be asking that question like first thing.
And Larissa's going to be, is an attorney, going to be talking about estate planning, and we'll be right back, folks.
My name is Heidi Hanus, and I'm a marriage and family therapist. I recently opened my own practice under the name of Faith Individual and Family Counseling in the area of Summerlin. I have been practicing family therapy for 14 years, and I work well with individuals, children, teens, couples, and most of all, families. I have experience in a variety of areas, which include family conflict, communication issues, grief, anxiety, depression, anger issues, addiction, adjustment to life changes, trauma, and most forms of mood disorder. The agency work I have done has given me the experience to work with all levels of issues from severe to mild. I believe in change and positive outcome. If you are interested to begin change, you can reach me at 702-370-4244 or hanusa@cs.com. Thank you.
Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services have been serving Nevada. Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services, the reliable option for your legal and tax matters. The original do-it-yourself legal source store with paralegals, registered document preparers, and enrolled agents to assist you when you need it. Need help getting divorced, starting your business, or just filing your taxes? Nevada Legal Forms is there for you. Nevada Legal Forms has over 1,000 legal forms and do-yourself kits for all your everyday matters. Nevada Legal Forms, the best place to start. Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services is not a law office or have attorneys on staff and cannot give legal advice.
Nevada Legal Forms, Charleston and Valley View. Call 702-870-0977 or online at nevadalegalforms.com.
Hi.
Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanderson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz. We had Larissa Drohobyczer, who's a Nevada state attorney. She's going to be talking about estate planning and probate. And for those of you that don't know, probate is when you are dead. Dead. Larissa, how you doing, man?
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a Las Vegas native, born and raised. Grew
Another
up,
one.
Yes.
Jeez.
Born and raised. Went to college in St. Louis, Missouri. Also went to law school in St. Louis, Missouri.
You need a lawyer, Jim?
You need a lawyer?
No.
Well, you might one day.
Yeah. Oh.
Go ahead. Sorry, Larissa.
So after law school, I moved to New York State, got licensed there as an attorney.
Oh, what part?
New York City.
Yeah,
New York
where?
City,
Where in the city?
Lower East Side.
Oh, Manhattan.
Yep, Manhattan.
I'm Bronx.
I
I'm
had
Bronx.
to take
I
the
didn't
bar.
see you. I didn't see you running around.
You didn't see me? This was 2010.
Oh, I
Were
was
you there
gone.
in 2010?
No, I was
Okay.
here. I was here already. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I moved there in the dead of winter because I got out of law school in December. I finished a little early.
With a big student loan. What was your student loan?
Oh, I'd rather not talk about it. I'd like to forget about it, but it's. I could buy a house with it.
I could buy a house with it. She looks at Jiah.
Can I refinance my student loan with you?
Yes. Wrap it into a house.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So I moved back to Las Vegas in 2011. So I've been here since, and like you said, I've practiced estate planning, probate, some family law, and I actually do a little bit of real estate, help with a lot of realtors on their transactions, because due to family law matters and removing deceased people off deeds and things like that.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about probate, because I ran for public administrator twice, and that office deals with probate.
Okay, so probate
and living trust
yes.
and probate and all that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll give a nice little rundown on everything people need to know really quickly and not too much legalese. So probate is the process of filing a deceased person's will with the court clerk and administering the estate according to the terms of the will and according to Nevada law. So here in Nevada, there's a couple different phases of administration and probate. Okay. So if your estate is under $20,000 and has no real property, regardless of whether there's a will or not, a beneficiary can fill out what's called an affidavit of entitlement and file that with the court and send notice to interested parties. And one of the interested parties is Nevada Medicaid Estate Recovery. All the rules are online, and if you hire a lawyer, we'll go through it with you. But so you can actually receive the deceased person's assets without court administration. You just get an order for transfer of property. So it can be car, it can be bank accounts, anything that a third party holds title to.
So I have a question on probate, because probate deals with the children, especially if there's a disease. Now, how does that work?
So probate, number one, there's two concepts. Okay, a deceased person dying with a will and dying without. So if you pass away with a will, it's called testate. If you pass away without a will, it's called intestate. If there's no will, then the children and potential heirs, spouse, and other next of kin, all their entitlements are codified in a statute. So if a person doesn't create a will or an estate plan, the law will determine how your assets pass and how creditors are paid.
Do you deal with the public administrator's office?
I don't. So the public administrator's office is actually used when there's no executor. So they administer the estates when either an executor is not named because there's no will or the executor can't serve. Special note, executors in Nevada cannot be convicted of a felony. So some people...
Why is that?
Well, because you're dealing with money and payment of creditors, so it's an issue of liability, whether or not the executor has the moral compass or moral turpitude to be able to, pay creditors and deal with a deceased person's money and do the right thing.
So your clientele is usually senior citizens when you deal with probate, the majority?
Not necessarily. You'd be surprised. Yes, a lot of older people pass away, but unfortunately, younger people pass away from illness or accidents. So it's actually kind of split. I've had some decedents that were actually really young, under the age of 50.
Okay. So do you deal with a lot of these contested probates and stuff like that?
I do.
With family members fighting each other over daddy's fortune or what have you?
Yes, I do. And that's why it's very, very important to create an estate plan, not just a will, but a living trust if the individual is a candidate to have a trust, and to clearly designate how you want your assets to pass, because with today's issues of blended families, ex-spouses, new spouses, estranged spouses, there are a lot of legal defaults that come into play if individuals do not execute an estate plan according to legal requirements.
What exactly, could you explain to the listeners and to me, what exactly a living trust is? I hear a lot about it, but honestly, I don't really know, because my parent has a will, but does not have a living trust.
Okay, I'll explain that. Okay. So a living trust is a separate legal entity. I usually compare it to an LLC or a corporation because it is a concept. It's not something that you can touch, see, feel. So we draft a trust document, and it's typically about 30 to 40 pages. And a living trust holds asset for the benefit of beneficiaries. So title split. There's a trustee that has legal title, and beneficiaries have equitable title. In a nutshell, I don't want to get too complicated, but you put assets into a trust and you name an individual to manage the trust for the heirs or beneficiaries.
And when you say assets, what are you talking?
Home, you can put bank accounts, fund it with cash. People do put cars in their trust, but I never title vehicles into trust for liability issues. Right. So most people use it for homes because if you have a home, it's automatically going to go through the probate process. Right. And if you want continued management of a home, maybe a family home that you've had for years, you put it in a trust. Therefore, it can't be sold or transferred without the intent of the individual who transferred it. So you basically manage assets long after your passing.
So do people put homes in trust for privacy reasons as well?
Yes, privacy reasons. Wills and probate are public. Mm-hmm. Trusts are not public. Furthermore, when you name your trust, you have the ability to give it whatever name you want, and that's the name that will appear on the deed.
So if I don't want no one to know where I live, I'll put my home in the Larissa Trust Foundation.
Yes,
something like that, right?
Or Veterans in Politics International.
And well, they'll still find me with
they'll
that.
Find Steve. Yeah,
I have to use something different, so they won't find you if you put it in a name that.
Yeah, if you put it in an unidentifiable name, then you cannot trace the owner of the property.
You know, one question I have, and something I hear thrown around a lot, is a living will versus a regular will. And I was wondering if maybe you could explain that to the listeners.
Yes. Okay, so a living will is different than a last will and testament. People use the term will loosely to refer to last will and testament. A living will is basically your healthcare directives, anatomical donations. So you determine how you want your end-of-life medical care managed. That's in the living will. Your last will and testament is the document that you determine how you want your assets transferred and your estate managed at your death.
And what would be the simplest way for the average Joe off the street to do both a living will and a will and testament? And where would they go to find that?
Well, they would go to an attorney such as myself, and we help with the individuals. Basically, we do a questionnaire. We determine their goals, their assets, their beneficiaries, and we walk them through the whole process.
Well, one of that was some awkward silence.
Right, I was like, I was just thinking in my head.
I thought you had a follow-up, so I was looking at you.
I was just wondering what made you want to get into this field of work? Because I know I've heard there's some lawyers that are afraid to get into the field. They just think it might be too morbid or whatever. Why did you get into it, though?
I got into it because one of my first jobs out of law school was working for a large financial institution. I will not say the name, but it's a large bank that everybody knows about.
On Wall Street?
No, no. A large bank that acted as trustee for trusts all over the country. So I was on a team. I managed 1,200 trust accounts. So I didn't get into it from the planning phase. I got into it from the phase of the documents have been drafted. Now we have this trust. We're managing the assets for the beneficiaries, and they were all large value trusts, and there would be homes and other assets. So I saw how it worked in practical life, and I thought, hey, you know what? I want to go on the other side and help people with the planning, because not a lot of people know what they need to know about estate planning. And it's not just for older people. Unfortunately, disaster strikes and people need to be prepared for these things, especially if they have family.
Explain a little bit about estate planning.
Okay, so estate planning, it encompasses several documents, not just your will and not just a trust. So the first document would be drafting a last will and testament. Whether or not an individual needs a trust, I'll typically see if they own real property or if they have children. In the trust document, you can appoint guardians for your children and individuals to manage assets and money for your children, so that when you pass away, they just don't inherit a large amount of money. In a will, assets distribute out. So
Do a lot of veterans approach you, especially ones that have service-connected disability benefits and pensions and all that? Do they approach you to say, hey, because half of their disability benefits goes to their next of kin? Do any of them approach you to say, hey, I want you to put this in a trust, X amount of dollars for this child and that child and so on?
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I have not had a particular veteran say that to me, but I would like to help more veterans. I really would, because it's really important, because they do get a lot of benefits, and a lot of them do have either surviving payments, survivors benefits, and then sometimes they have just beneficiary designations.
Right.
And with the amount of divorce and just different things, people don't keep up on those things, and then they don't understand how to change them once a life situation has occurred. So I like explaining things to people so they understand.
So if you do, how often do you think you should update your will? I mean, I myself haven't even updated my will since I was active duty, but how do you update it, and when should you update it?
Okay, so whenever there's a major life change, marriage, divorce, death, birth of a new child, that's typically when you will trigger events that will need to update your estate plan. But it's good to look at it every 3 to 5 years, just to follow up and see, hey, do I still have the same desires? You know, is my intent the same? Have things changed with my family members that they may need more or less of support when I'm no longer here?
Would you be the person that somebody would contact if somebody was trying to I'm trying to think of the right word, but trying to basically go against what the will actually states, or like challenge the authority?
Contest a will.
Contest a will, yeah.
Yes, I do. I do probate litigation and fiduciary litigation. It's actually really hard to challenge in Nevada. So unless they're going to claim a defense to the testator, that's the person who wrote the will, to their ability to write the will so that they weren't of age, capacity, it wasn't witnessed, those are things that can challenge a will effectively. But if they're just challenging the terms, it's typically they won't win.
Can you so I'm assuming that you can update a will as many times as you want?
Yes. An update to a will is called a codicil.
And what's the charge for that?
I charge $250 to draft documents. I do offer a veteran discount.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And do you also serve as the witness to the will as well, or how does that work?
No, I don't. I actually, by law, I can't, because I'm the drafter. So they have to be two disinterested parties. So it cannot be the person who's signing the will. It can't be myself. It can't be the notary, and it can't be any heirs to the will.
Right.
So I have witnesses in my office, just, the staff.
Random.
Well, my staff, they're witnesses because they're disinterested. So yeah, it has to be witnessed by two people.
And where is your office located? That way, if someone did want to come in and find a will, they would know how to find you.
My office is on Jones and Sahara, 2810 South Jones Boulevard, Suite number 3. And you can call my office directly, 4744.
You have a website?
I do. My website is www.wealthmlg.com. That stands for Wealth Management Law Group.
Is it your firm, Larissa?
It is my firm.
Oh wow! How many employees do you have there?
I have two. I have two employees, and I'm actually going to be. I do a lot of work with other attorneys.
Okay.
Co-counsel.
Any of your employees a notary, or both of them?
No. What I do is I get a mobile notary. The mobile notary comes. So sometimes when people are unable to come to my office, we can go to them. Due to age or, sickness, or if they're in the hospital, we execute outside of my office.
So you go to hospice a lot or no?
I have, unfortunately.
What about the Boulder Veteran Home?
I have not been there, but I would like to.
Okay.
And so for people who need a will, do they have to schedule an appointment? Do you do walk-ins, or how does that kind of work?
Well, they do have to schedule an appointment because I need to be able to draft it, talk to them, do the consultation, prepare it, and then I'd have them come back to execute.
What documents do you look for? Do you tell people they have to have?
Okay, number one, what you have to have, healthcare directive. Okay, that appoints your agent to make your medical decisions for you when you are unable to, meaning you cannot give informed consent. You are incapacitated, in a coma, in surgery, or you don't have the mental capacity.
But if you're married, you don't need that.
You do, because your spouse may not know what you want. So in this document, we determine what your healthcare decisions are. So if you want to stay in a coma, if you want to be on a feeding tube, if you want to stay on life support, if you want blood transfusions, you have to go through all those steps because unfortunately that happens.
Can your healthcare directive be your spouse, though? Is that allowed to be appointed under the law?
Yeah, so by default, your spouse can make your medical decisions for you.
What happens if the spouse is also your heir?
Okay, so that's a conflict of interest. That is a big issue. That is definitely a conflict of interest.
Well, $300,000 life insurance or keep her on. No, she's got to go.
My husband would totally be on that boat. He'd be like, I'll take the money, just get rid of the royal. Yeah, he'd be all about that.
Well, also in that document, you can name alternates. So if your spouse can't do it, for whatever reason, you guys are both in an accident or they're out of the country or whatever, you name alternates in the document. And then financial power of attorney, that's also a power of attorney to manage your financial affairs.
So you'd want a list of every single bank account?
I don't necessarily need a list of every account, but it helps.
Okay. All right. Well, Larissa, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And you already gave your point of contact?
I did. I have a direct dial if you want appointments. My assistant, she always answers.
All right, well, go ahead.
702-238-4972. My assistant's name is Marge.
And Larissa, I'm going to screw up your name again. Could you say it for us, please?
Larissa Drohobyczer.
And what country is that originated out of?
It's Polish.
Polish?
It is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't look like it, but my dad's from Poland.
I believe you, because I got Chinese in my family, and I don't look like it.
I believe you.
You believe me. You know something I don't know?
No, I just believe you.
So that's Larissa
Drohobyczer,
Estate Planning and Probate. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz with Veterans in Politics, folks. Until next week.